What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Thursday night's late night agenda. As always, I'm your host, and this is your show, ladies and gentlemen. You let me know what you want to talk about from a Liverpool perspective, and we'll give it a bash. That's all I can say. Right, let's get straight into it. A couple of things just to clear up from last night's game before we move on and consign that one to the ghost of history. Last night's game saw James Milner make his 536th appearance in the Premier League, which puts him 5th on the all-time record list, which is a tremendous achievement for him. Just to give you a bit of a flavour of that list, top of the list is Gareth Barry with 653 appearances. Ryan Giggs is next on the list with 632. Frank Lampard has 609 appearances. David James, another former Red, has 572. And then James Milner slots in there at number 5 on that all-time appearance list with 536 appearances. I keep saying this about Jimmy Milner, but how brilliant has he been since he's come to this football club? The Benjamin Button of football is what we keep calling him, and he just keeps going out and putting in consistent performance after consistent performance. Belies his age. He's just great. What a man to have around the club, and congratulations to him on getting that record and being 5th now on the all-time Premier League appearance list. Right, last night's win also seen Liverpool add another record to their growing collection of records. The 3-1 win against Brighton means that Jurgen Klopp's team are the fastest team to ever reach 30 victories in one season, and that's in the 132-year history of English top division football, or in fact of English football full stop. So last night we got 30 wins from 34 games, which just pips Manchester City's record, which was 30 wins, I believe, from 35 games. Now again, I'm going off memory here, so that one could be a little bit off by a game or so, but what is definite is that Liverpool have racked up the fastest 30 wins in a season in the 132-year history of English football. So the records just keep coming for Kloppo and the boys. And obviously, look, the big worry from last night was the injury to Jordan Henderson. Klopp alluded to it in his post-match press conference as well. Left knee, by the looks of it. We're going to have to wait and see, anxiously wait and see what the results of that scan are. And hopefully it's not too bad and Hendo is back and available for at least that last home game against Chelsea, where we can all look forward to him raising that Premier League trophy above his head. It would be very anticlimactical if Hendo wasn't able to take part in that game. So fingers crossed it's nothing too serious, but going off what Kloppo's body language looked like, he's certainly worried about it. We can see how different we are when Jordan Henderson isn't in that starting 11 for the Reds. So fingers crossed it's nothing too serious and we get the results of that scan and he's good to go. And look, hello to everybody that's in the chat. I know I ignored you at the start there. I just wanted to get through that little bit. I hope that you're all well. I'm going to get into some transfer gossip in a few minutes as well. There's not a whole lot of stuff around transfers, but we'll get through what we have. Hello to Logan, Luke, Dunnett, Gideon, Keane Reynolds, Sean Malloy, Luke McKeever, Justin the Woods, LFC Fan 96, John, Kylian, Isa, Joanne, Sean Malloy, James Cleary, Bernard Sweeney, LFC Fan 96, Eliza John 5, Alex Crawford Guitar, and Seamus Moore. It's been a while since I did one of those readouts where I just go down through the list and chat and say hello to everybody. I hope that you're all well. I can almost taste the record, by the way, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. 4 games to go, 9 points needed for the Reds to break that 101 points tally. I hope we can do it. I really do. The games are going to come thick and fast. We've obviously got Burnley coming up at the weekend. Then we've got Arsenal next week as well. So, yeah, loads to look forward to. And then, again, I'm going to go on later on and talk about when the start of next season looks like it's going to take place. A date was put out there today in one of the newspapers, so we'll go through that as we move on. Again, if you have any comments or anything you want to talk about, please do put it into the chat. And I promise you, I'll do my best to get there. I'm just going to go through the news now and then we'll dip in and we'll have a conversation. Right, so transfer news. And former Liverpool defender Christian Ziga has warned the Reds against signing Bayern Munich's Thiago. He said, I have to say, I love the player. He's a fantastic player, but I'm not sure he fits into the Premier League and the style Klopp is playing. I think where he is at Bayern Munich is a good place for him, or maybe a Spanish team. I'm not 100% sure about him joining Liverpool, although he is a fantastic player, so he'll handle it somehow. I'm just not 100% sure it's right for him. Now, on this, and I wanted to elaborate on that a little bit, because that's just, of course, one man's perspective on this, and Christian Ziga has no influence on where Thiago goes. But LFC Transfer Room posted a couple of quotes from James Pearce of The Athletic, obviously formerly of The Echo, and around the whole situation, because you guys know that I brought this up a few days ago, or maybe it was last week, when the rumours around Thiago started coming out. I wondered, Are we going to see a situation here where Thiago maybe comes in because GINI isn't signing or isn't getting that new deal? And are we going to see GINI and Wijnaldum go out and Thiago come in? The answer is still, I don't know, but I just wanted to give you an update on something that has been attributed to James Pearce. So, as I said, NFC Transfer Room posted a couple of quotes from Jimmy Pearce, and this is what he had to say. Thiago's keen on a move to the Premier League and would relish the opportunity of working with Klopp. Down to the final year of his contract, he'd be available for around £30 million. With Wijnaldum, who the fuck is he? With Wijnaldum's future uncertain, having now entered the final year of his contract, Liverpool's stance on Thiago could well change. So yeah, there you go. I don't know on this one. Again, the reports from Europe seem to suggest that we have an interest. The British-based journalists seem to be a little bit cooler about Liverpool's interest in Thiago. But what I really wanted to ask is, would you guys be happy if it was a case that GINI Wijnaldum didn't get a new deal and Thiago came in as a replacement for GINI? Both 29 years of age, both midfielders, but I suppose the difference would be Thiago would offer Jurgen Klopp something that little bit different. That Thiago has also been linked to Manchester United, and I'm sure will be linked to a host of other top clubs around Europe as well. I always wanted to see GINI get rewarded with a new contract, but if it's going to be GINI's decision to move on, if he's stalling on a new deal because of either the length of the contract, the lack of guarantee of playing time, I don't know. It's all just conjecture at this moment in time. One thing I will say though is it would surprise me if it's GINI that's refusing the new deal, because he's always been one of the first names Jurgen Klopp puts down for the big games in particular, so it would surprise me a little bit. But again, I wanted to know what you guys think about this one. Would you be happy if GINI Wijnaldum went and it meant Thiago came in? Let me know. Right, James Milner's the best free transfer in Liverpool history, so Peter Atkinson. Seamus Moore said hopefully Hendo's injury isn't too serious. Best wishes from Kate in Worcestershire, said Kate Smith. Thank you, Kate. I hope that you're keeping well. Thiago has 231 appearances in 7 seasons with Bayern, averaging 33 appearances per season. Thank you for that one, Stephen Booker. Really, I love a bit of stats, mate. Well, I love when somebody else produces the stats, I should say, and I don't have to go looking for them, Stephen. So well played. Good evening, Elijah John 5 as well. Tiernan Downey said yes, he would. I'd rather see GINI sign a new deal to Seamus Moore. I'm not sure, to be honest, said Delwyn Jones. Remy would rather GINI Wijnaldum. I'd love GINI to stay as well, said David Carroll. Love GINI as a player again, said Remy. GINI, said Dunnett, get in. And you know what? I'm happy to see the GINI Wijnaldum love in the chat. I really, really am, because GINI has been a breath of fresh air since he's come to the football club. He's been Mr. Consistency. He's level. I mean, you might not always get a 9 out of 10 from GINI, but you'll pretty much always get a 7 out of 10 from GINI. And as I said, when it comes to the big European games or the big nights in the Premier League, Kloppo seems to stick with GINI Wijnaldum and is his trusted lieutenant in midfield, usually alongside Fabinho and Jordan Henderson. So this is why I'm a little bit surprised by the stalling on the GINI Wijnaldum contract, because from what I'd read before we went into lockdown, it looked like that was almost a done deal for GINI, and a new contract for Virgil van Dijk as well. So it does surprise me a little bit, but what I would say is whether or not it's an upgrade if Thiago came in and GINI went out isn't for me to say, really. I mean, I of course have my opinions like everybody else, but what I will say is it would give us a different dimension to our midfield. It would give us somebody who can carry the ball forward a little bit more from midfield. Somebody who can pick out a pass. Now, Naby Keita can certainly do that as well. And we're starting to see better performances from Naby as the weeks go by. And I think a lot of people rightly showered a lot of praise on Naby Keita for his performance yesterday. And I thought he was sensational for the 60 minutes that he was on the pitch. Right, GINI said Ethan's Corner as well. LFC Fan 96 has gone for GINI. Keane, I'm really good, thank you, mate. The header versus Barca is iconic, said Elijah John 5. It is, absolutely is iconic. Look for the player. Thiago's better than GINI, but GINI is part of our structure. Thiago is going to take a lot of time to fully fit into our system, said Big LC. Now, what I can say about Thiago is that one, he was very complimentary of Liverpool's midfield when we beat Bayern Munich in the Champions League last season. And also, if you look back and attribute quotes to Jurgen Klopp over the years, he's always spoken very highly about Thiago as well, and how much he rates him as a player. So this is definitely one to keep an eye on, and one that I think we'll see a little bit more of over the coming 5 to 7 days, when hopefully we'll have more information on it. Because right now, in Europe, yeah, Lots of interest from Liverpool. Over in the British-based journalists, not so much, a little bit cooler. The Echo have gone as far as to say that as far as they're aware, Liverpool don't have any interest in Thiago. So, again, we'll have to wait and see. Right, one more report today, and that is around Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho. And the report says that he's been monitored by Liverpool as well, of course, as by Manchester United. Michael Zorc, who's Dortmund's sporting director, has also indicated that they're already looking at replacements for Jadon Sancho. Talking to Kicker, he said, should Jadon leave, we'll make additions in our attacking department. That is certainly one or other players that are on our radar, or there are certainly one or other players who are on our radar. So that sounds to me like Michael Zorc and Borussia Dortmund are already eyeing up replacements for Sancho, and it's just going to be a matter of if anybody coughs up an amount of money that they're happy with. Now, we've heard Sky Sports come out and say that from what they've been told by Manchester United, they're not willing to go above £50 million for Jadon Sancho. 108 million was an asking price that somebody has put out there that the Borussia Dortmund are believed to want. That's certainly money that we haven't got in this window. So as much as they're linking us to him, and who was it that linked us to him in that article? Let me just check if I have that for you. It was a report in The Independent, actually, so one of the better, higher calibre levels of newspaper there, and they said that we're keeping tabs on the situation. And look, I'd be surprised if we weren't keeping tabs on every top player in Europe, but how strong that interest will be, I guess, again, time will tell. The only way that I can realistically see Jadon Sancho perhaps ending up at Liverpool is if it's next season. So if it's a deal is put in place with Borussia Dortmund where he stays there for one more season, a price is agreed, or maybe a loan and then a guaranteed buy at the end of it, I don't know. But again, I will be very, very surprised to see that happen. But what do you guys think? Where do you think Jadon Sancho is going to end up? Christian said, I'd love to see Thiago come in, but not to replace GINI. See, that's kind of where I am as well, Christian, if I'm being honest, mate. I mean, I love GINI Wijnaldum. I do understand, though, that football's a ruthless business, and that sometimes managers have to make very difficult decisions, particularly at this level. So I'm willing to, of course, trust Jurgen Klopp and the recruitment team, whatever their choice may be. Whether that is giving GINI a new deal or whether that's bringing Thiago in, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, it could be both, you never know. Right, Villa hit the post, somebody said in that game. Mbappe said, Alisson Casey, look, we'd all love Kylian Mbappe, but we aren't going to pay him the wages that he'd want, nor do we have the $250 million that it would probably cost to bring him in. And yes, I did say billion. That's how mad football transfers have gotten to. Right, what else have we got? Let's get Bertrand, Thiago and Aouar from Lyon. The Ryan Bertrand thing, that I don't think he's going to leave Southampton, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, at his age, he's getting to the latter part of his career now. He's not going to want to come and sit on Liverpool's bench for the majority of the time. Because let's be honest, he's not going to oust Andy Robertson from the left-back position. So I can't see Sancho leaving, said Ethan's Corner. Just my opinion. That's okay, buddy. That's all. All of this is, Ethan. It's all just opinions, mate, because none of us have any concrete information. Look, put it this way. If I was to put money on Jadon Sancho joining the Premier League club this summer, I wouldn't be putting it on Liverpool. As much as I'd love to see it happen, I wouldn't be putting my money down on the table. Should have gone in for Hakim Ziyech and Paul Smith. I don't know. I've always been on the fence about Ziyech. I'm not willing to say that, he's not going to be a success at Chelsea, but I don't know if he is at the calibre that we would need. And if we're bringing in somebody to challenge our front three, it's got to be a genuine challenger. It can't be somebody who could be good enough. It has to be somebody who is good enough, because we have players who could be good enough. We have Divock Origi, we have Takumi Minamino, we have Raheem Brewster, who's obviously doing really well at Swansea. Now, I wanted to have a talk around Divock Origi actually while we're talking about forwards, because as you can see from the title of tonight's stream, or maybe it's the thumbnail, I'm not sure which one it is, the question was, should we sell Divock Origi? And I've been asking myself this question a lot over the past couple of weeks. A lot more than I certainly have in any other time that he's been at Liverpool Football Club. And, I've come to the conclusion that if the right offer came in, I think we should move Divock Origi on. And I never thought I'd be saying that about Divock. Even going back a few months ago, I kept defending him. And maybe defending isn't the right word, because that's assuming he's done something wrong, and I don't think he's really done much wrong, but I still don't see him reaching the level that we'll need him to get to if he's to be a genuine challenger for one of those front three places. Takumi could well get there. It's far too early to say with him, and of course with Raheem Brewster, Harvey Elliott, the sky is the limit with those two young men, and of course Curtis Jones as well, from an attacking midfield position on that left hand side. He looks a real deal as well. So I don't know, what do you guys think on Origi? Genuinely, what do you think on Origi? If we were offered 30 million quid for Divock Origi this summer, would you take it? Would you like to see him move on? Now, if you're watching this back and you're not live, please do let me know your thoughts on the Origi situation in the chat or in the comment section, because I genuinely am intrigued to get as many Liverpool's fans' viewpoints on this as possible, because I've wrestled with this myself back and forth over the last few months. Certainly more than I thought I would have, as I said, because I've always been somebody who thought that Divock would eventually step up because he's not entered his peak years yet, and I don't know, it's just when he starts, when he comes on as a sub, I see a lot more from him. I see a lot more confidence, I see a lot more impact, but when he starts games, I don't know, that's when I really question him. It's weird to say. Right, let's get into what you guys are thinking anyway. Who would replace Origi? Said Justin the Woods. I don't know, mate. I don't know. Let's say we do go out and draw. Let's say we bring in. It's a good question, because I can't say sell Divock Origi for 30 million and go with Jadon Sancho for 108 million, because the maths just doesn't add up. And if I was to say go out and get Houssem Aouar, well, that's not really solving the problem for the front three, is it? So it's a good question, mate. It's a good question. Tom Morgan said sell him. Ken Coastler said sell Origi. Stephen Booker said sell him. Elijah John 5 said, I think if we use our heart instead of our head, we'd realise that Origi isn't good enough. That's kind of where I'm getting to, mate. And I have been ruled by my heart a lot. As you guys know, I'm a pretty emotional dude, particularly when we're doing watch-alongs. And I'm trying not to be as emotionally invested anymore in some things. Obviously, I have to be in the games because that's the joy of being a fan. Sell said Ellie as well. Seamus Moore said 30 million, I'd sell Origi. Take the cash and move on to malcontent. Dave the Red said sell as well. Elliot said Origi's not good enough, sell pronto. Keep for one more season, said LFC fan 96. And Josh said Origi's rarely used. He's good, scores vital goals, but he can go and not damage us. Yeah, well, I wonder if he did move as well, where he'd go to, because I can't really see too many suitors from in the Premier League, unless of course maybe somebody like Leeds or somebody like Sheffield United or maybe West Brom, who are coming up fancy giving Origi a bash. Maybe even Newcastle, I don't know. Elliot Santos said I'd rather have Brewster than Origi. I have to say, so would I. Raheem Brewster, of course, isn't proven yet, but he just keeps getting better. And everything I see about this kid just makes me fully believe in him 100%. And I wonder if we're going to see him kept at the club for next season, because the plan, from what I'd read, was to loan him out. But obviously with his good goal scoring form, with the financial aspect of the football world being where it is, maybe Klopp will just use this opportunity to say, do you know what? Let's give young Raheem Brewster the opportunity next season and see what he can do. LTEB, I hope I pronounced that correctly, said sell him, but only if we buy a proper player. What's the verdict on the City appeal, or when is it? Monday, Peter. They were supposed to get the results of the Court of Arbitration for Sports ruling on whether to uphold Manchester City's 2-year ban from European football. It's set for Monday, mate, so you'll probably see something leaked, I'd imagine, over the weekend in the papers. Mbappe would replace him. He's too good for football. Yeah, Mbappe would be great, mate, but we're not dropping 250 million quid on Kylian Mbappe. Sell Origi for Neto, said Alison Casey. Leon Bailey is a decent shout, actually, Isa. And Leon Bailey could be available for a bit of a knockdown price from what I've read as well. So that could be a good shout, actually, on Leon Bailey. What do you guys think? Has anybody watched much of Leon Bailey? Because from what I've seen of him, he looks very raw, very fast, very direct. And as I said, I could be just unlucky, but when I've watched him for Leverkusen, he's been coming on as a sub. Now, that could be just me being unlucky and not watching the right games, and I won't lie and say that I've watched a whole lot of Leverkusen, because I haven't. Best channel on YouTube, said Kent Coastal Holiday. Let's thank you, mate. I'm still humbled massively when we get compliments like that. We're at Little Old Us. That's the way I'll always look at our channel, just Little Old Us. I still sit here like I'm talking to 10 people, even if it's 1,000 people or 300 people or whatever it is on the stream. Look, ladies and gentlemen, one quick shout. If you're new to us, you're watching us for the first time, you're enjoying the stream, welcome. Thank you for being with us. But please do take a moment, hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up as well. Todd Cantwell to replace Origi, said Shanzo the man. You know I've got a fondness for Todd Cantwell. Somebody who we've definitely been keeping track of, and with Norwich looking like they're doomed to relegation, I'd be very surprised if Todd Cantwell is still a Norwich City player next season. So that could be a very, very good shout, you know. Kingsley Coman, they're not going to let go of him. He's not going to move on. Haaland as well, as great as he'd be, there's no way that Borussia Dortmund are letting go of Haaland right now. And an interesting fact on Haaland is it's always been his dream to play in the Bundesliga, so I think he'll settle in there at Dortmund for another couple of seasons. And look, even then he'll still be, 21 years of age or something like that? Dembele from Lyon, said Addison, and from what I've read today in the newspapers, Manchester United have ended their interest in Dembele, Lyon's Dembele. Stephen Booker said, watch shitloads of Bundesliga, even before the lockdown. He's good, but every time I've watched Leverkusen, Diaby has caught the eye. Jadon said, hi Craig. Hello Jadon, how are you? Said, how much money do you think we'll spend this year? Do you know, I'm worried that the answer is going to be very little, mate. And I don't know how I'm going to feel about that if it is the case, because we were all set up for a bit of business this summer before obviously what happened with the world. I know I'm so scared to even say the name of it on the stream in case I get a copyright strike or something from YouTube, but I think this summer we would have done some business, mate, and I think now we're waiting to see how the landscape lies, whether fans are going to be able to get inside the stadium next season, even partly, whether the club are going to be able to sell season tickets, how many shirts the club are going to sell, what the television broadcast revenue might be like. It's it's a difficult one. So I can understand why we're being cautious, but still, if other clubs are out there doing business, I don't think we should be standing still. El Nino said Klopp loves a relegated player. He really does, mate. That's a good show. Twizzy, how are you, mate? Welcome in. Cape Town Muslim as well. How are you, sir? Welcome in. I keep going to say captain, but I know it's Cape Town. VAR is shambolic, said Delwyn Jones. You're not going to get any argument from me about that, mate. You know my stance on referees and VAR. Right, so the Premier League clubs have decided to delay a vote over the dates of the upcoming summer transfer window. It had originally been thought that the vote would take place during today's conference call between all 20 clubs, but it will now take place sometime between now and the next scheduled meeting on July 24th. And UEFA, by the way, have set a deadline of October 5th for clubs to register players for the group stages of the Champions League and the Europa League next season. What else have we got? So the Daily Telegraph believe that the Premier League preferred start date for the 2021 season is September the 12th. Now, I did touch on this earlier on and said I would have a bit of news on it. So that would mean the clubs have around 6 weeks from the end of the season until the start of next season to get the pre-season sorted out, give the players a bit of a rest, and of course look at the transfer window as well. Now, the transfer window will probably run right through until the very beginning of October. I think October 1st or October 2nd, something like that from what I've read. But yeah, as I said, the Daily Telegraph believe that the Premier League's preferred start date for the 2021 season is September the 12th, one day after my birthday. How sweet is that? So yeah, let's wait and see if that is the case. That would mean around 6 weeks break for Klopp and the lads, or 6 weeks I should say, to have a break and then to get somewhat of a pre-season underway. Klopp did of course say that he would be treating the time that they had to train before we resume football as kind of a bit of a pre-season. It's always been known that there was going to be a short turnaround for next season, but 6 weeks is longer than I'd expected, if I'm being honest with you. What's the date of the Community Shield? Clifford, off the top of my head, mate, I don't know, but I do have something on the Community Shield actually while we're talking about it. And there was a piece in the Times today that said that the FA could invite the winners of the Championship to play Liverpool in the Community Shield if the winners of the FA Cup are unable to take part because of European commitments. As we know, the Europa League and the Champions League ladder stages are going to be taking place. I don't know. I know that the Champions League are in Lisbon in August. I'm not sure again where the Europa League is taking place. I'm sure somebody in the chat will know, but with that taking place, and maybe Manchester City or Manchester United or who else is there, Wolves that are still in the Europa League, no, they were not going to be Olympiacos. Yeah, so with the clubs still in the Europa League and which ones of them are still in the FA Cup, I can't remember off the top of my head. United are in it and City are in it. So if they were to go through and win the FA Cup and be in European action, it looks like that potentially we could have a situation where Liverpool will be playing Leeds or West Brom maybe in the Community Shield. It doesn't really make much of a difference to me personally, and I'm sure not to you guys as fans, because the whole idea of the Community Shield is to raise money for charity, and that's what it should be about. I don't ever class it as a trophy, whether we win it or lose it. It's kind of irrelevant, but it would be a good opportunity for a Leeds or a West Brom to have a crack at a trophy. Mike said it's your birthday today. Happy birthday, Mike Hoban, mate. Happy birthday to you. Neil said Leeds look good. Yeah, 5-0 win for them today against Stoke. Absolutely thumped them. So yeah, give me your thoughts on that as well. Right, what else have we got? Arsenal, Chelsea, United and City. They're Arsenal, Chelsea, United and City. Yeah, but who's left in... Arsenal are out of Europe, mate, so that wouldn't keep them in contention for the FA Cup. So if Arsenal won the FA Cup, they wouldn't be in European action. So, they'd still be able to play in the Community Shield. So it would be like Manchester United and City are the only two teams that would really still be in European action in August. So if either one of those were to win it and still continue on in the European Cup, or in United's case the Europa League, then maybe this scenario that we're talking about will play out. I don't know. Who'll win the Premiership next season? I don't know, Josh, but I think it'll be between Liverpool and Manchester City, mate. If I'm being honest with you, I can't see United or Chelsea or anybody else closing the gap that much. I think it'll be between us and City again. Hopefully, obviously, it'd be nice if we could retain it, but it's going to be a tough season. LFC 3, I'm alright, mate. I'm not too bad, thank you. I'm really tired, but, I won't complain. Ryan Brown said, Craig, mate, would you take Jamal Lewis as a backup to Robbo? Yes, I would, mate. But, again, somebody who would probably want more first-team football. But that's what makes this conversation so difficult around a backup for Andy Robertson, because we all know how damn good Robbo is. And if somebody comes in, they will get games because everybody has to be rested and rotated. But will somebody get enough games to keep them happy? I don't know. Which is why maybe Klopp was looking at Adam Lewis, Larouci. We seen Neco Williams tried out a left back last night, and because of the yellow card he picked up, that's why Klopp said he took him off at half time. Will Thiago have a chance at centre back? Why the fuck would he play at centre back? No, mate, is my short answer to that one. No. What else we got? Haaland will be even worse than Origi as a Firmino sub, since Haaland is nowhere near as agile as Origi or Firmino. He wouldn't be able to play the quick plays, tiki-taka football up front like Firmino, said Dollar Jake. Do you rate Lorenzo Garcia, Craig? I don't know anything about Lorenzo Garcia, Dave, so I'll always give you an honest answer. The honest answer is I haven't got a clue. I'm going to have to bow down to your knowledge on that one, mate. So let me know what you think about him, because I have no idea. Is Milner contracted for one more season? Yes, Dylan, he is, mate. I think maybe even a potential option for another one after that, if my memory's correct. Is the new training ground nearly finished? Yes, it's not too far away. There was a delay, obviously, because of, again, the thing I can't talk about because I'm worried about YouTube, but you know what I'm talking about. There was a delay, obviously, building work had to stop because of that, but it has restarted, and I don't know, I can't give you an honest answer to say whether Klopp and the lads will be in there in time for pre-season or not, but it's certainly getting close to completion. Lens-based media said Salah, Origi, Shaqiri, Lovren, a few of the fringe players, and release the wages of Lallana and Klein would surely go towards funding another top player. Also, next to no money spent in the last 2-3 windows. I can't really argue what you said there. I would agree with the 3 sales that you've spoken about. I would add in Harry Wilson to that list of potential sales as well, if the right money can be got for him. And then I suppose another conversation worth having will be around Marko Grujic, who personally I would like to see given a chance at Liverpool, because I don't think he's had the opportunity that he maybe should have had, or I'd say maybe should have had, because he was Klopp's first signing when he came into Liverpool, and he's never really had a proper crack at a whip. He's had some time at Hertha, obviously, and seems to have done fairly well there. So yeah, I can't really disagree with Lens-based media there. I would sell the 3 players you've mentioned and Harry Wilson if the opportunity came up. Delwyn said GINI deserves to get a new contract. I can't argue with you at all there, Delwyn. I think we'd all agree that GINI certainly deserves a new contract. Now, whatever the reason might be, if he doesn't sign one, I don't know. Whether it's down to him, the length of contract, the wages, I guess we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. Cape Town Muslim said, off topic, Craig, by the way, did I ever do boxing? No. The only martial art, mate, I ever did was taekwondo. No, never trained in boxing or anything, just a fan. Do you think Keita could be creative midfielder we need, said Harry Graham? I certainly think he will give us some creativity, Harry. I mean, you probably noticed this yourself, but with Naby Keita, he always shows for the ball, loves to break the line, has a nice pass on him, but it's just his intelligence and the spaces he finds for himself that excite me most about Naby Keita, mate, and what I'm seeing. Ryan said Grujic is a baller, Milinkovic-Savic type player. That's it. He's a massive big unit of a fella as well, isn't he? And imagine him learning from Fabinho, from Jordan Henderson, from James Milner. I think he'd come on leaps and bounds, mate. I really do. Dara said, do you think we should take a punt on Pookie? No. If you had asked me that in the first half of the season, Dara, I probably would have said yes, but I think Timo Pukki, I don't want to say was found out in the second half of the season, but he's certainly fallen off a cliff with regards to his form in the second half of the season. And he looks very tired when I've watched him play as well. I think it'll be top four, be Liverpool, City, Chelsea and United, said Addison. I don't really disagree with that. And do you know what, Addison? If you asked me 3-4 weeks ago, I would have said Leicester, absolutely nailed on. But again, their form since the restart has been shocking. So I think you could be right there with the top four. And even if that's the top four for next season, I still think you could be right, mate. Sal Minamino, he's crap and done nothing for the Reds. Yeah, go fuck yourself. How about that, Allison? You're gone. That's a ridiculous thing to say about a player who's barely been at the club a wet day. So I don't care how long you're here. I don't give a shit. That's just a ridiculous thing to say. A player who's only come in January, hasn't had enough time. It's just, I'm too tired to even deal with your nonsense. Havertz is a perfect type of signing for us, said Tom Aston. Whoever Havertz goes to, mate, it's going to get one hell of a player. Chelsea, as I'm sure you know, are probably the Premier League club most linked to Kai Havertz, but I can't see Liverpool dropping the type of money that we'd need to get Kai Havertz. Unfortunately, I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news or to be Mr. Doom and Gloom on here, but I would be very surprised if we had the money to get Kai Havertz. Leicester have United in the last day of the season. That'll be a very interesting game. It certainly will. If they're still having to play for Carl at that point. Havertz will cost so much. Yes, about €100 million by the looks of it, Mufid, which is again why I'm doubtful that it could happen. There was something actually that I'm sure you guys read today, but I wanted to bring up as well, and it's around the Premier League's use of VAR. So it looks as if the Premier League's ability to use VAR flexibly, which is basically them picking and fucking choosing which parts of it they want to use, that could be about to come to an end. The reason for this is that FIFA has now taken full control of the system's rules, and I'm all for this because of the lack of referees going to monitors in the Premier League. It does my head in. I mean, if a referee makes a decision on a penalty and then it goes to VAR, well, why isn't the referee the one that's gone over to have a look at that? Why is it going to Stockley Park? The ref made his decision. He should be the one to go and have a look at the monitor to decide if he needs to overrule his own decision or not, rather than it having to be a clear and obvious error. This is what those monitors were brought in for red card incidents like that, for penalty incidents like that, maybe for handball incidents like that. And the fact that the referees aren't going to the monitors, or are very rarely going to the monitors, I think it's irked FIFA and UEFA as much as it's irked us fans watching it, because it's ridiculous. That's what the monitors are there for. So with FIFA after taking over the whole use of VAR now, it looks like the Premier League may have to actually start implementing it properly from next season. So it's one that I wanted to bring up with you guys, because I know it's something that has annoyed a lot of football fans, and I won't even put this down to just Liverpool fans. I think a lot of football fans have been just annoyed by the Premier League's picking and choosing of which aspects of VAR use. Either use them all and let players get used to it. And another knock-on effect of this, by the way, is players going and playing in European competition, players going and playing in international competition. The bar is changing for them. So in one game they'll know the referee's going to go have a look at the monitor, and then in another game they're going, oh hang on, this is going off to Stockley Park for some other fellas who aren't refereeing the game, who haven't got the ebb and flow of the game, who didn't make the original decision to go and make the decisions. Now for the likes of offside, sound. No problem with that whatsoever. Let the lads in Stockley Park get their lines out, make the calls, no problem. But for decisions that the referee has made and needs to have another look at, surely it's the man in the middle that makes the decision. Surely it has to be. VAR is utter dog shit, says Tyab. I'm not disagreeing with you. VAR is lick stock, said IBG12. Stockley Park sounds proper Nancy for sure, said Snoop Dogg. It sounds a little bit weird, mate, doesn't it? Stockley Park does sound like a bit of a weird place. Maybe a bit of dog in action going on there, I don't know. Sign Koulibaly in a swap there for Lovren and Matip. Why would we move on 2 centre backs to bring in 1 and put ourselves up shit creek again, being short of centre backs? Lovren will maybe move on, but we're not going to sign Koulibaly, mate. We're not going to drop 70 or 80 million pounds on a 29-year-old centre back. What's the latest news on Thiago? I spoke about something earlier on, mate. Something that LFC Transfer Room had attributed to James Pearce. I'm just trying to find the actual link for you now. 1 second. So, yes, what they said James Pearce had to say about it was... Where is it? Thiago's keen on a move to the Premier League and would relish the opportunity of working with Klopp. Down to the final year of his contract, he'd be available for around £30 million. With Wijnaldum's future uncertain, having now entered the final year of his contract, Liverpool's stance on Thiago could well change. And that's been attributed to James Pearce of The Athletic. So, I don't know, mate. Even Jimmy Pearce looks like he's saying a bit of a wait-and-see situation. Should we get Coutinho back? Absolutely not. I'm going to say this really clearly so people know my view on this. And a lot of you guys probably know it already. Felipe Coutinho stuck 2 fingers up to this football club. Felipe Coutinho stuck 2 fingers up to the manager. He faked a back injury, and I don't care if people want to try and pull me up on this. This is my opinion. He faked a back injury. He went to senior players at the club behind the manager's back and tried to get them to convince the manager to get his move to Barcelona to happen. He also went on strike by the looks of things. He also put some dodgy stuff out there, or his camp put some dodgy stuff out there about his treatment by the manager, and various other things. Apart from the fact, and this is the most important one for me, he had already committed to stay for that season in the summer, and then they were going to readdress it at the end of the season. But no, Barcelona came calling in the winter, and he left us high and dry and stuck 2 fingers up. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't want Felipe Coutinho back anywhere near Liverpool Football Club. I don't want to have anything to do with the lad. He made his decision. He was great while he was here, but he made his decision and he went off, and he wasn't good enough at Barcelona, and that's his problem. I don't want him back at the club. I'm backing the manager. I'm backing his decisions. And I don't want him, personally. I don't care if it's for free. I don't want Coutinho. What's the stance on Sancho? No idea is the honest answer. I genuinely haven't got a clue. We know Klopp's an admirer of him, but have we got 108 million quid to drop on him this summer? No, is the answer. And United have said they're going to go above 50 million. Dortmund are already looking at replacements. Michael Zorc, as we said earlier on, has come out and spoke about that. So, yeah, I honestly don't know, man. Ethan's Corner said he wasted an opportunity to be European champion, which says it all. He was a snake. Hey Craig, just joined the stream. How are you doing? Any big news? No big news. Viv for the win, really. We're just kind of having a little chat about last night. A few bits and pieces in the news that have come up today. But yeah, there's nothing major, to be honest. Do you think Jones, Elliott and Williams will get a Premier League medal? Well, Klopp always said, Addison, that regardless of whether they get the appearances or not, he'll make sure everybody gets a medal. So I hope they all get one. But if they don't get the appearances, I don't know, I think it'll be for the right thing, the right reason. It won't be because Klopp's trying to be an asshole about it. He just wants to, again, we talk about integrity. Klopp wants to make sure that those teams that are fighting in relegation see a strong enough team put out, and he just wants to pick the right team to get the result in each game. We know that we need 9 points from the 12 remaining games to break Manchester City's 100 points record, and another record that's up for grabs, by the way. If we were to win against Burnley on Saturday and we were to win against Chelsea, we'd be the first team to ever win all 19 home games in the Premier League season. So that would be another record that we could add to the impressive list of records that we're already putting together. Craig, do you think we can get any sort of money for Shea Ojo? At times he hasn't looked too bad. At Rangers, just no consistency whatsoever. I haven't got a clue, man. I haven't kept track of Ojo at all. At all. You've got to hold my hands up to that one. I haven't kept track of him at all, man. Sorry. I wish I could give you a better answer, Daniel, but I'm trying to be honest. Ryan Brown said, I have a feeling Sancho will stay at Dortmund. If he does stay at Dortmund for this season, Ryan, there will be a whole host of clubs that are queuing up to sign him next season when the financial landscape's a bit clearer. Kit Kat said, we won't be spending money at FSG, don't spend money unless there's a sale. I don't think that's necessarily true, but I kind of understand why people will be a bit frustrated, man, because we haven't spent much money in the past 2 or 3 seasons, so I get where you're coming from. I just don't want to be that demeaning of the owners, because I can understand why this situation is as it is at the minute, because nobody knows what the short-term future is with regards to finances. Would I get rid of our owners? Absolutely not. Why would I get rid of owners? This is where us as fans look a bit embarrassing at times, and this is why other clubs look at us and just have a little pop at our fans. Why would we have a pop at the owners who have delivered us a Premier League title after 30 years, a European Cup, a Super Cup, a Club World Cup, Jurgen Klopp, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson Becker, a new stand, gonna be a new Annie Road end, a new training ground. They've redone the area around Anfield. They've given us a new £50 million training facility. They've given us a new club shop, a new mega store. Why the hell would we want to get rid of these owners? I'm genuinely baffled by that. Is this just petulance because we're not going out there and dropping 150 million on transfers? These owners have brought us from nowhere to the elite of world football again, and done it very cleverly. Now, I won't agree with everything that they've done. Have they made mistakes? Absolutely. But to start looking at, do we need better owners? No. We have great owners. I think if the owners get so much disrespect from fans because they just want us to drop 200 million every summer. Now, I think we should be looking to spend some money, don't get me wrong. And that's one thing that I'm willing to have an open conversation about. But anything else about the owners? No. They're very good owners. They haven't taken a penny out of this football club yet. And they'll get their payoff when they sell the club down the line. And they've earned that. Whether it be 2 billion, whatever they get for the club, they'll have earned it. They haven't hemorrhaged us with debt. They haven't been just creaming money off the top. I think they've been very good owners. Owners who know how to run a sports club. Hey Craig, your head makes me so happy when I see it. Thank you, mate. I'm glad it makes one of us happy. Ryan Brown said, couldn't agree more, Craig. Captain Clun said, I'll be disappointed if we don't sign anyone to freshen the squad. As will I, buddy. I'm right with you on that one. We should be looking to go out this summer. Joanne said, put some respect on our owners and Klopp. Our owners are the best we've had in decades, said Dave Smith. Do you think Ben White could be a good signing, and what is he worth? Yes, John, absolutely think he'd be a good signing. What he's worth is open to interpretation, I suppose, mate. I've read somewhere that Brighton would demand something like £35 million from him, and yet they don't want to sell him. Of course, why would they? Potter's playing some good football there with that Brighton team, and as good as Ben White has been for Leeds this season, I'm sure that Brighton are going to want him back. Now, with regards to what he's worth, I would say his value in this market is probably around 15 to 20 million pound. That's what I would suggest somebody would be happy with paying at Liverpool, let's say, if we were to go in and put some money down. Nicely nailed, Craig. Our owners are awesome. Major trophies and end of the 30-year wait. Jimmy, that's what made me laugh, mate. These owners have brought us the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail, mate. The Premier League title after 30 years of waiting. And not only that, we have a European Cup. Another first for the club was that we went out there and won the Club World Cup as well, something we hadn't done before. And that's on top of all the infrastructure that we've spoken about. That's on top of record revenue from commercial partnerships. That's on top of bringing us in a fantastic new kit deal with Nike that will see us get a guaranteed £30 million and 20% of all Nike Liverpool merchandise that's sold. There's just so many positives there that I just find it really odd that people are still being criticising of the owners. Specific little bits and pieces, by all means, but as a whole, I don't know what people want, what type of owners people want this club to have. Skiller said we should sign the Dam, in my opinion. We shouldn't. Or should we sign the Dam? Excuse me, in my opinion, we shouldn't. I would be of the camp that I could understand why we would do it, and I could understand why we wouldn't do it. I think at 60 million there may be better value to be had in the market, and 60 million is just a number that I've read, by the way. I'm not saying that that's absolutely what Wolves would want to sell him. And there's a lot of clubs around Europe looking at it. From what I've read, Juventus are keeping track of him. I think I've read somewhere that PSG are keeping track of him, but don't hold me to the PSG one. Clifford said 1st of August new sponsorship. By that I think you mean kit manufacturers, mate, because Standard Chartered are our sponsors. And yes, it will be the 1st of August, it looks like, when those new kits will come out. What else we got? Why do you want to sell him? Sell who, Afiri? I'm not sure who you're talking about. And the question was, should we sell Origi? We've already covered this, mate, on the stream, so I'm not really going to go back over it. Do you think Vardy would be a good fit for Liverpool? In theory, yes, but you've got his age. What is he, 32, 33 years of age, Jamie Vardy? But yeah, his work rate and his all-round pressing would be good in a Klopp system, but we ain't ever going to go in for Jamie Vardy. But in theory, yes. Lemmy from Hamburg said Alaba from Bayern. Something that seems to have gone a little bit quiet, Lemmy. David Alaba, another player at Bayern Munich that's entering the final year of his contract. He is somebody who makes loads of sense for me. Can play at left back, can play at centre back, can play in midfield even, as he's done for Austria. So Alaba I could understand, but again, I've not seen anything strongly linking us to David Alaba. Do the kits sell out on debut? Sometimes pre-sale does sell out, mate, of certain shirts, but I've no idea what the Nike situation will be. But it looks like New Balance have sold 1.7 million Liverpool shirts this season, which is, I think, the highest we've ever sold. If GINI leaves, it'll be a big loss for the fans. I'm with you, Tom. I love GINI Wijnaldum, mate. I think he's done everything to deserve a new contract. Now, if GINI wants to move on himself, that's a completely different situation, and I would, I'd wish him the best with the rest of his career. But if it's down to a decision from the club, then I'm with you, man. I think he deserves a new deal. Owners are class, best in the league, said London Liver 96. Alaba's quite versatile to Eaton's corner. He definitely is, mate. Very versatile indeed. One more thing on Raheem Brewster, actually. So Raheem Brewster, as we know, has had a very good return to form for Swansea, and he's been nominated for the Championship Player of the Month for June. So congratulations to Raheem on that nomination. And look, it remains to be seen if he'll win it or not, but it shows you that he's going in the right direction, that he has been nominated for the Championship Player of the Month for June. So well done to Raheem, and continue banging in those goals, mate. And we look forward to seeing you back in a red shirt. People want owners like cities. We're not happy with good owners. See, the problem with owners like cities is if they get bored and decide to call in all the money that they're owed from the clubs, they could be up shit creek. And it would be the same with Roman Abramovich and Chelsea. Chelsea owe Roman Abramovich something over £1 billion, I think. But yeah, those type of sugar daddy owners are great in some ways, but if they get bored, or they want to start asset stripping, or they just decide, time to move on to a new project, you can be really in a whole lot of trouble very quickly. And we've seen it with the likes of Malaga, and we've seen it with that Russian club as well, Angie Makhala, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Angie, the one that had a whole heap of players playing from one point, loads of Brazilians and everything, and then the owner just pulled the plug, and that was it. I mean, they basically went back to insignificance. I think we should sell Origi and Lovren, and we'll get good money and hopefully sign a better defender, said Yusuf. Selling Origi will be a big blow for us. We need him. Do we, though? That's what I'm wondering, Aferi, and this is the conversation that we're having tonight, mate. Divock Origi is a real head scratcher for me, because when he comes on as a sub, he impacts games, but when he starts, he doesn't seem to have the same impact. Now, the only way I would sell him is if we were going to bring in another player who can genuinely challenge the front three. And that was the conversation that we were having tonight, pal. What do you think if we sign Koulibaly? There's no chance we're signing Koulibaly, mate. It's not going to happen. Like, we've already not signed Timo Werner because we couldn't spend 50 million quid and couldn't give him 200 grand a week. We're not going to sign Koulibaly and spend 70 million quid and give him 200 grand a week. Hi Craig, do you know if Henderson's out for the rest of the season? I don't know, mate. Nobody knows yet. We're waiting for the results of that scan. It would be a crying shame if he misses the end of this season, particularly the last home game against Chelsea. But even if he has to be wheeled onto the pitch or on in a set of crutches, I'm sure he'll have something special lined up to lift that trophy. Just be thankful we don't have Mike Ashley. Absolutely, Dara. Completely agree with that, pal. Do you think we'll break the record held by City? Yeah, I kind of... do you know what? I have a bit of a bad feeling. Here's what I think could happen, right? Bear with me. So I think that we'll beat Burnley. And I think that we'll win the last game of the season. But I have this really bad feeling that we'll draw with Arsenal and Chelsea and end up on 100 points. I hope to God I'm wrong. I'd even sacrifice losing one of those games if it meant we won the other 3, because that would get us to 101 points. Now, I never want us to lose a game, but it would be a little bit frustrating if we ended up on 100, wouldn't it? As great as that would be, by the way, don't get me wrong, it's still an amazing achievement. Sean said, would you sell Brewster for 30 million this summer? No, not a hope. No, not a chance. This kid, and I'm not saying he will be, because nothing is nailed on, but he has every chance of becoming another Robbie Fowler, another Michael Owen. That good. That's how good he could be. Now, it's up to him to prove himself, and I think he'll get the opportunities under Klopp, but no way would I sell. I think if we sold Brewster for 30 million, we could look back at that in 2 years' time as a ridiculously bad piece of business. Hull's owners are worse than Mike Ashley's. They'd beg for him, said Claire. Elijah John 5 said, I agree, Craig. Chelsea and Arsenal are toughies. Look, we should be beating Arsenal. I think we can beat Arsenal. I just have this weird feeling that we could end up on 100 points, and I don't want that to happen. I think we'll beat Arsenal, though, if I'm being honest. I do think we'll beat Arsenal. I'm actually nervous for the Arsenal and Chelsea games, the LFC 3. Well, look, let's get through the Burnley game first. And look, I'm going to finish up now in a minute or two, ladies and gentlemen, but I just want to give you guys a heads up. We will be doing a preview of the Burnley game tomorrow. So make sure you've got your notifications turned on. We're going to be going live from about 8:30 again. We'll go through team predictions. We'll go through score predictions. We'll have a little chat around any transfer gossip that comes up as well. And then, of course, on Saturday, we will be covering the game on the channel here, starting from 2:30. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff. It's on BT Sport in the UK. We'll be doing a watch-along of it on the channel as well. Thank you very much to everyone for joining me again tonight. Please do hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up as well if you haven't done so already. If you're watching this back later on, please do let me know your thoughts on anything that we've spoken about. But one final thing today. I just want to give you guys one final thing. We're closing in on 15,000 followers on Instagram. We've only really started being active on there over the past month or two, and it's growing really, really quickly. So if you enjoy what we do on here and you want to give us a follow on Instagram or on Twitter, it's just at Anfield Agenda. It's actually scrolling across the bottom of the screen right there now as I'm speaking. On Instagram, at Anfield Agenda. The same on Twitter. Welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Mark Mighty Red. Welcome to the family, buddy. Make sure, Mark, that you check the community tab of the Anfield Agenda YouTube page, and you'll see a link to join our Discord group, mate, which is where we have a chat when we're offline, and that is available to all of our members. And if you want to become a member, click that blue join button. Membership's just 99p a month, but welcome, Mark. Joanne, thank you very much as well for the super sticker there. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you're all well. Stay safe. Take care of your families. Tell your loved ones that you love them. And up the motherfucking Reds.